send their kids to school, or is it students as your primary customer? And so schools really struggle with that issue. That you have a whole lot of supporting customers, but there is a primary customer. Most people come down on the side of students. There are customers. They're with us every day, and we're here to serve their needs, but it also serves the greater needs of the community.
That's why we're here. It's for the students. That's my opinion, anyhow.
For instance, we had reading as our main goal, and improved that immensely. And I think the last go around, the board was saying we need to work on math. But with the bottom up, the teachers wanted to redo reading some more before they moved to math. They understood math was needed to, you know. So we, you know, but now they're comfortable with the reading and they're ready to move to math. But it's kind of, it's different. It used to be we did this and the board said, well, we want science to be our school improvement goal. And I guess there's a little confusion yet.
Well, I don't think these days, I don't think we have a luxury we used to think we had, and I'm not sure we ever had this. We used to think we could take an area of the curriculum and improve it, and then kind of forget about it for a while and move to something else. And I'm not sure that was ever true, but that's what we thought. Now, I think if you get your reading to where you want it to be, then you have to work like the devil to maintain it there, so it never goes away.
Right.
It stays in this priority slot, but now we need to make sure that we get math or science or something else, so we move them all up to this plane. But what might have been your old goal, to move reading up so that you were more proficient all the way kindergarten or first grade through 12th grade, that stays. You can't let it slide, because once that starts to slide, you're back to zero. But then you may want to tackle another curriculum issue. You may want to look at how you integrate your curriculum so that math and science and technology and other things are more put together instead of taught separate. That's been talked about for years, but most people treat things as history, English, science, math. In the real world, they all come together, but in the school world, they all stay apart. And I'm only 60-some years old, but I've never figured the real world, it all works. Math and science, reading, writing, technology, it all works together. So why don't we teach it that way? Don't know. Write a book about that. Did that help?
That helps.
Answer your
because
question?
we've kind of done that. We've kind of, reading was our main emphasis for a long time, and we kind of slid math in there and started it, but you know, now it's kind of going a little bit, reading's still there, but math is going to become our major emphasis, I think. So.
Nationally and internationally, American kids probably aren't as competitive. Some American kids, not all, are not as competitive in math as some of our international counterparts. It depends on whose story you read. A lot of our kids do very well in math, but I think you have to determine as a board and as a teaching group and as parents, what does a 9th grader in 2010 need to know about math? What does a high school graduate need to know about math when they graduate from high school? And a lot of the math they probably need to know is much more sophisticated than the math that I knew when I graduated from high school, because they will use it almost every day. So, you know, I don't know how you want to center these goals on looking at you want, I'm hearing curriculum come up as an issue. And I would add to that instruction, the way things are taught. And I think they're the two biggest things that schools deal with right now. What are we teaching? How do we teach it? And how much self-learning goes on, and how much can you expect kids to learn on their own, and how much do you need to guide them? And then what kind of standards do you set for kids to accomplish? And there's a lot of literature out about 21st century learning and what kids need to know, and I would get a hold of that literature and look at it and then kind of aim. I'd say the advanced ed accreditation model will head you right in that direction. But I don't know if you can treat individual subjects. I don't think you have a long time to treat individual subjects. I think it's more complicated than that, because as soon as you improve math, science is going to suffer. It ain't easy. It isn't easy. It really isn't easy.
But you're right, we used to do the 7-year study, we did it a year, we put it up on the shelf.
Absolutely.
And then 7 years later, we took it down and looked at it. Well, we did some of that, but we didn't do some of it.
Well, and
And that's changed.
Yeah,
For the
thank
good.
goodness we're not doing that anymore.
Yeah.
We're looking more at more broad-based things about how students learn, what they're learning, and how they put it together. To me, it's how they put it together that really makes the difference. So, if you're looking at 3 to 5 goals, and I guess I would ask you, do you want them to be broader goals that you're looking at, or do you want some broad goals and specific goals? Didn't mean for this to be a quiz. It's just a discussion.
Well, I
I think by nature, some are pretty broad, but
yeah.
others contrast.
Yeah,
A little more.
that's
We
not
got a little
answering
of
your,
both.
yeah, that's
There.
not answering your question, but yeah, specifics on some of them are broad.
What kind of data do you have as board members and school teachers and administrators? What kind of data do you have that suggests you need to move in one direction or another?
You mean as far as curriculum?
Yeah, when I talk about student success, where are your students highly successful and where maybe are they not as successful as you?
Well, that's why we kind of individually addressed reading several years ago, because our reading scores compared to state average was low. So we brought that up now, and now math is kind of at that point where it needs to be brought up. That, I don't know if that's answering your
Yeah,
question.
it
but,
does.
science and
And I think it's normal, I guess I can't say I know it is, but, we're seeing a variation. For example, this year at the elementary level, we started a MAPS computer-based testing system. So we get pretty quick access to data results, and therefore can interpret a lot faster, translate. High school level, we're still tearing all in some of that, so it's a slower turnaround. And then within those age groups, of course, we're seeing the fluctuations too, which I think is more the nature of the students.
Yeah.
So, I don't know how we address the goals, but also deal with the fluctuations within the age groups and the students while we're at it.
But it seems to me that at our place right now, we're dealing with, they always call them STEM issues: science, technology, engineering, and math. Those are the hot issues. That's where the money is. That's where the money flows from feds and foundations to universities and colleges. It's all around science, technology, engineering, and math. And not everybody's going to be a scientist, and not everybody's going to be a mathematician. But people do have to have a firm foundation in science and math, and reading, and writing.
We get a lot of pressure from community colleges on algebra
Yep.
because of mechanics and everything now. got to know more algebra
Yep.
than they did 5 years ago. So all of our students need to know algebra much more than what they used to. Just in the technology world,
Yeah.
obviously, I struggle with the technology world too.
Well, I said the technology part, that's hard to gauge because that's ever changing.
Yeah.
You know, we get set up with what we think is up-to-date equipment and, you
By the
know, as
time
well
it's
as
set
I
up,
do,